Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the 182nd edition of Cinema Effect. I'm Zach, and I'm joined by the amazing Spider-Man Defence Force, Jaden.
Howdy.
Howdy. And, of course, our resident Irish citizen, a.k.a. Fitzy, a.k.a. Liam.
Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get right into it. We took a trip to the cinema, which makes sense. This is Cinema Effect, the podcast where we review and talk about a different movie every single Monday. And this week, that movie is a brand new one. It is The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which is in top contention for longest title we've ever reviewed. It opened in the US on November 17th, 2023. It was directed by Francis Lawrence once again, coming back. He's now directed every Hunger Games movie except the first one, which is interesting. It is an action drama, and the synopsis says, okay, get ready, Fitzy, I need you to grade me. Coriolanus Snow mentors and develops feelings for the female District 12 tribute during the 10th Hunger Games.
That was very good.
Thank you very much.
Maybe a bit slower for the precision, for the accuracy, but
like I was
8 out of
trying
10.
a bit too hard to get it right.
Yeah.
Okay.
A bit unnatural.
Okay, fair enough. Coriolanus.
Yeah.
Coriolanus. Yeah. Yes, we went to the cinema, watched this movie. We've, of course, been reviewing every Hunger Games movie every single month for the last 4 months, I guess, leading up to this one. So we're well prepared. Jaden, what did you think of this brand new film, of this prequel story in the Hunger Games universe?
I thought it was quite enjoyable. Hold on, sorry.
Oh, worst timing ever. Fitzy, what did you think of this prequel set in the Hunger Games universe?
I thought it was quite enjoyable. It was I did think it was quite enjoyable. Yeah, I love the the aesthetic of the film, the 50s, 60s, whatever, box TV kind of aesthetic they got going on. It was very entertaining, the early Hunger Games aspect of it, and the kind of mentors, having their own little Hunger Games and all that shit. And Snow was really, charismatic and attractive and fun. It was this movie is just like a 2-hour, 40-minute demonstration of the halo effect. If someone really attractive believes in something, you start to believe in it too. Even though he believes in the worst thing imaginable. But
yeah, it really is that.
No, it was good. I had a good time.
Yeah, I was very, very impressed with this movie. I don't know. I'm sitting here deciding if it's my favorite Hunger Games movie, which is awesome. I thought it was a really cool story that delivered what we wanted to see with a Snow exploration and origin. It lived up to the Snow hype. You know what I mean? That's what we wanted to see. That was the draw, especially for us number one Snow fans, and it lived up to that, which was great. But yeah, I don't know. I thought the film was actually pretty ballsy in how it felt like it just refused to fit into the mold of a typical Hunger Games formula. Obviously, it had the Hunger Games in it, but that was only a part of the movie, and I just think it would have been, I don't know, pretty easy to come out with another Hunger Games movie set in the past. Sure, but, you have the first hour build up and then you do the games in the second hour and, like we've seen before. So instead, this film really just totally does its own thing and tells a story with its own structure, and tells a story at the end that feels like it's really about something, which is great. And that stood out to me because, I don't know, yeah, it's easy to be cynical about Hollywood sequels and prequels and stuff, but this really, I feel like, feels like it deserves existing, Plus, I guess that's, also just a credit to Suzanne for writing this story in the first place as well. So, yes, I was certainly engaged with this one. I very much liked it. Jaden? No, I still can't go to you. Shit. Okay. All right. Well, this is weird. This is like throwing off the entire history of the Cinema Effect show here. Well, I can just chat, Fitzy, I can just chat with you for a minute, I can
imitate Jane more if you want.
Oh, you feel free. What do you think Jane's going to think of it?
Maybe he thinks there's 2 stories or something. He'll say something about that. No?
There's 2 stories? What do you mean by that?
Maybe he'll just, there's kind of, there's 2 kind of parallel stories going on, isn't there? I don't know. I'm being Jane right now, so I can't really justify everything that I'm saying.
Right. Yeah, no, you definitely can't. Okay, now that's a good. Well, personally, one of my main takeaways from the cinema experience is Jane back?
I think I might though.
Okay. Before I go ahead with that thought, can you maybe, in the brief amount of time you have, let us know what you thought of this movie?
Yeah, I think it was super fun, super cool to see. I think I think it was actually an appropriate prequel, which is an important thing. Quite often stories are set in a very established time, and they're set there for good reason. So then throwing in prequels and sequels is becomes awkward because there's no need for them. But this feels like one of the most appropriate prequels we could have been given, just based on things you were saying about early Hunger Games, just the character of Snow that becomes so prominent in later ones and all that shit. I do think there was a latent awkwardness in some of the performance and some of the dynamics and dialogue, but I think it was really cool. I think it was probably like the most not the most impressive visually, but I think it's just visually as to reflect ideals and settings and all this other stuff. I think is probably the best one to communicate those things. I'll squeeze it in now, so we don't have to mention it later. But like the abundance of brutalist architecture, which brutalism it's a social architecture that emerged post World War II to kind of house many. So having it everywhere in the capital and even out in the districts as well, it's a good reflection of the war that they just emerged from. So that's what I mean by the visuals reflecting the themes and stuff like that.
That's cool.
So yeah, I think it was really cool, really well put together. But yeah, there's I think it's definitely there's flaws throughout.
Okay. Put a pin. We'll get into those flaws. I think this movie's perfect, personally. So I'm looking forward to hearing that.
What?
But I'm glad you both mentioned the visuals and the aesthetic and stuff, because I thought the production design was phenomenal. Thank you for bringing your architecture knowledge to this, Jan. I did not understand that, but what I did understand was just I really enjoyed finally being able to experience the capital in a as a real location, which is odd because we spend so much of Mockingjay Part 2 there, but I don't know, it feels kind of, it didn't really do much for me in that movie, which I explained in that review, but I really enjoyed the capital, the buildings, sort of just getting a feel for their society a lot more. I also feel like do you guys think that the way the games evolve post this film, as is set up in this film, like, and the way and Snow's influence, like they have influence on the fashion and how it becomes so outrageous 60 years in the future? Because I think the fashion's definitely dialed down here, I think deliberately, which I thought was cool.
Yeah, well, I did think how like Snow was almost ahead of the times in his fashion in this film, because everyone was wearing like suits and shit. It was very like
Right.
60s, 50s, fit in with the tube TVs.
Yes.
Yeah, it wasn't as extravagant yet.
No. The 50s aesthetic was prominent everywhere, really. Prominent in the wardrobe, for sure, which I thought was really cool. Prominent, of course, as Fizzy's mentioned, in the technology, the TVs. Love that shit. I loved probably way too much just like the logo they had for the Hunger Games, like the in-universe logo. Because I just thought that, like, dude, that's great. That's like the most like 1950s thing I've ever seen, like a game show kind of thing. I thought it was great. And the fact that it's just so interesting to think, like, the fact that this world is meant to be like a future from us, right? But it still feels like distinctly in the past for this world, which is cool. And I know, like, I was listening to a fair bit of Francis Lawrence last night, and he was saying how, they really aesthetically wanted to basically make a period piece, like a Hunger Games period piece, And I thought that's obviously really interesting to think when it's like, it's set in our future, but it's a period piece. But yeah, it's odd to think about, but it's really cool. I think they totally nailed that stuff. So I was a huge fan of looking at this film, for sure. One of my favorite aspects of the film, actually, was walking out, and we all know Liam and Jaden, one mind, linked. Both had glowing things to say about Tom Blythe and his appearance in this film. No doubt about that. I've got to say, I don't know if this is a hot take, Rachel Zegler, no slouch either. You know what I mean? So, like, is this like the most attractive leads of all time? Like, at least in recent memory, this has got to be some pretty top tier stuff,
I can't really.
I mean, you're more than willing to comment outside of the cinema, Jaden. I don't know.
Well, yeah. You said, like, the thing is, like, it's fine to comment on Tom, but it's not fine to comment on Rachel because like it's.
Is it not? Both very attractive.
No, she is, but like I feel like it's I think less problems will arise if you only comment on Tom.
Okay. Yeah, no,
Well,
that's fair.
you compare it to West Side Story, where Rachel Zegler is also a lead, but you have Ansel Elgort, who is arguably less attractive than Tom Blythe.
Right. Also, allegedly more problematic, but
Yeah.
that's another thing. You know what I mean? But yes, that is very true. That is very true.
No, they're both
Both ace.
both ace, both very fit.
Well done.
I hate that. I hate the fact that Tom Blythe has actually stayed on my mind. Like.
Okay. All right. He's raising some serious questions here.
Like you can recognize that this man is beyond attractive, but there's not an attractiveness that exists. Like I'm not attracted to him, but I can recognize that he's attractive.
Right.
Oh,
right.
And he's very attractive.
This is like in The Killer, and then the start of The Killer when like he's trying to justify it to himself.
100%. This is Jaden's inner monologue that's been since Thursday night. He's saying, "I don't find him attractive. I just recognise." Exactly. Oh man. Anyway, I just say that to say that I thought they were phenomenal in the film. I think all the acting's top notch in the film. I don't want to touch on various people. Jaden,
sorry, can you hear my chair when I fucking swing around? Is that annoying?
Do it now. Is it like a squeak?
It's like a leather creak.
No. Okay.
No. Okay. Sorry.
No, that's fine.
Because sometimes I think like it's very loud, and you might. Sorry. Yeah.
No. Yeah, the audience is going to love that. So, what was I saying? Oh yeah, we'll touch on all the different performances and stuff. Did any of? I was curious as to what you meant, Jaden, by some of the awkward dialogue. I did not feel this in the film, but. Anything to do with the leads? Anything to do with where was this arising?
Not with the leads. No, Rachel and Tom were very solid. Despite Liam's comments before, I think that there was an awkwardness with Tigress's character.
Oh really?
Also, I think that opening little prelude with the two of them as kids. Those kids weren't good actors. And I think the whole kind of. I think that was probably the most awkward scene in the film, to be honest. Just in terms of execution, where it felt rushed and amateurish compared to the rest of the film. But then I do think that there's still this little bit of awkwardness that exists just throughout with like some of the district people and then even still some of the classmates interactions. Not massively, but it's enough that it affects perception, I think.
Okay, so do you mean like the scene when they walk in and it's like they're all chatting before the ceremony thing?
Yes. I think that there is an awkwardness in there, and especially in the way that they throw names around so that you become familiar with them.
Oh, right.
Because of course you think that Coriolanus, and of course you think that Butterfluff, and of course you think this. And they're trying to squeeze everything in to just you need to, so the movie can move on with these characters without having to bring them up later, and then you have a sense of familiarity. But yeah, it definitely does. Yeah,
I see what you mean. Yeah, that's fair enough. I get that. I quite liked the opening scene. It was interesting. So hang on. First of all, I think I missed some. I think I missed some like bit of dialogue that threw me off then for the rest of the movie, because who was Snow's father exactly? So he's a co-creator of the Hunger Games with Peter Dinklage, right? But like, who was he in Capital Society? Because he was obviously someone important, like how Snow seemed important at some point in the past.
Didn't he used to be president? Did I misinterpret that?
Did he?
I don't know. He said that he had like a high position. I can't remember exactly, but
I mean, that's all you really need to know thematically, because they do that shot at the end of the prologue where it's like him on a glass stain thing, which is okay, powerful figure, looming kind of thing. I get it. So I got it, but I just didn't know. I didn't get exactly who he was. I didn't think he was the president, but
no, I didn't think president either. I just thought someone just rich, high up,
rich, important society person. Yeah. Okay. No, I guess that's all I need to know. I just feel like they specifically said it and I missed it, but that's cool.
He was
Anyway, I
a
liked.
major
Sorry,
general. Yeah,
Major General. Okay.
yeah,
Oh, so he's in the. Okay, so I guess he's responsible for the capital, probably partly responsible for the capital winning the war, probably.
potentially.
That's
But
interesting.
his father got strung up in the woods, and they would say that.
Yeah,
Yeah, so he obviously
well,
died in the war.
But then later Peter Dinklage says that he devised the Hunger Games as a punishment for the. Oh, unless they devised the Hunger Games while the war was still going.
Must have.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
Yeah. That's a good point, actually. But
Rather
yeah,
than after
I
it
get that.
finishes. Yeah. Okay.
Must be. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. No, that's cool. That's all cool. That makes sense. I like the opening scene because I knew that Snow wasn't like the founder of the capital, right? Like I knew that, like obviously timeline wise that didn't work. But for some reason, like in the original films, though, when you get Donald as an old dude, I sort of imagine, and like the book probably explains that this isn't the case, but I always sort of just envision that, oh, he's been president for all time. You know what I mean? So it was interesting to go back and realize right from the start, no, he's definitely not that. He's very much brought into this, this society. It's been brought about through this war. He was starving on the street. His family was struggling. They can't pay the rent. Starving as a kid in that first scene, and then that continues on. They're sort of struggling. So I thought that was interesting in that it's like, no, the capital structure exists already, and then he sort of throughout the film comes to basically understand it and use it to his advantage to gain power in it. It's not, he didn't create the system, basically. I sort of always just thought, I don't know, he's this older guy, capital's been around for like 70 years. I don't know, I guess he was like the first president. You know what I'm saying? So that was just an interesting like tweak in how I perceive the character and his origins, which was cool. And to learn that he's actually like, he's a player. As he says at the end, he's the victor. Like he got his way there. He worked his way to the top in something that already existed. So I thought that was an interesting element that I didn't realize, which was cool. But yes, anyway, that was my defense of the opening scene. Do you have any comments on it, Fitzy?
Well, I kind of get what Jane was saying when they go to run for the fruit and they're like, oh, there's fruit over there, and then like the tiger comes and they throw the bin at the tiger. It felt a bit like a YouTube short film or something. But
okay. Oh, yeah.
I didn't have that big a problem with it. I thought the was it like the first scene we saw, like the very first scene? It was a cool kind of like cold open kind of thing.
But then that thing about the throwing around the names, like they still do that, like where it's just too much for the audience, as if we're dumb cunts. And because we see that guy chop off the leg. Corio is all like, why is he doing that? And Tyrus is like, oh, he's hungry, as if like it's not obvious that he's gonna fucking eat it. Like it's
right.
And then even when they get back to the apartment, like it feels overacted by the older person and then by the young kids. Like it just, yeah. But it's a good juxtaposition to the rest of the quality of the film. Really highlights how high quality the rest of the film is.
Okay, gotcha. Does it almost feel like to you like it was a bit of a reshoot kind of thing to like you have to get this in at the start to make the to lay the groundwork?
Maybe, or just throw it in with like a second director. Yeah.
Right. Second unit. Yeah.
Maybe Francis wasn't even there.
Maybe not. Okay, no, that's all cool. We've already touched on it a bit. I've brought it up, so let's go all in. By this point, this has to be like a segment on the show, right? It's like Snow Talk, Snow Revelations or some shit. Let's talk about Snow and his character, because obviously this story is about him, and I was very interested in it. I was thinking about it a fair bit last day or so, and I wanted to see what you guys took away from it overall. I guess I viewed it as it sort of being a conflict of, for him, two sides of the same coin.
Oh.
Let's go. Yeah, basically like the two sides of him sort of fighting each other out internally throughout the rest of the film, and then one side prevails. That's sort of how I'd summarize it. But yeah, how did you guys take the whole origin aspect and the arc? What was this journey for Snow?
Oh,
oh.
dude, I waited so fucking long for you to
I
speak,
waited
and
long
you
for you to
didn't fucking.
speak. Like what?
Oh, dude, I was waiting, and you fucking. All right, now you go.
No, you go. You go.
No.
Oh.
Because then you're gonna complain that I stole your idea again.
Oh, you did steal my idea. No, was it? Yeah. No, it is two like sides of the same coin. Yeah, that
Hell yeah.
does make sense to me. But I did feel like I didn't fully understand how his journey with her kind of aided in his arc. How it made her how it made him become who he is. Evil. Because it feels like the side of him that wants power and control and just like is out for himself basically. It kind of exists by itself. As you said, it's like two different sides, and that side kind of just slowly wins over with like, to me, like not much prompting, because like you could, in his mind, maybe like she betrayed him or whatever, but that was only after he was basically threatening to kill her. So it feels like everything is kind of started by his own psychology. There's nothing external in her story that kind of forces his becoming, I think. Like, at least I don't understand what it is yet, but maybe you can enlighten me.
Yeah, you see, the way I actually see the film as more highlighting the fact that there is no duality to him. He is he is an explicitly, malicious, evil person. I think this whole kind of side thing with Lucy Gray, it still serves a selfish kind of intention, but like I think it was just a byproduct of him trying to trying to exact his kind of methods to rise. Like we're always shown that he's hungry for money, hungry for power. He's hungry. He feels like it's deserved. He feels like it's owed to him. We see him constantly make recommendations to the games as they're acting, as he's meant to be helping Lucy, who is supposedly falling for, that work against her. Well, not work against her, but work against her kind of people for years to come. And
Right.
that's and like I think everything he does is self-serving. I think the film or this story that Susan wrote was more meant to show that there was never really a good side to him.
That's so interesting. So you didn't really buy into like their connection as much.
I think he definitely did fall in love with her, but I think it wasn't through like it's not that it wasn't genuine, but like it's just that it was a byproduct of a selfish means, and that when it ultimately came to it, it wasn't worth it to him.
Okay, interesting. So it was like it only came about because he went down to the train station to meet her, and he did all this extra stuff to connect with her, and he only did that because
that
he
was
wanted
only
to win the prize.
performative, yeah, for the prize, yeah.
Right. That's interesting. So yeah, it's not to say that. Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah, so like he did care about her, but it's like the origin of it.
Yeah,
it's not. It wasn't because he wanted to do good for District 12 or shit like that.
No, and even when he transfers there for her, I think it's I don't know. Everything he does to help her helps himself, And he admits as much to someone when they question, what do you actually want, and he goes, I want both, or whatever, or he says,
Yes.
what he wants.
Yep.
Yep. But I think he hides how much it is self-serving for him.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine Susan writing a story that does try to paint him in a positive light, because he is meant to be, the book's Hitler. So I really do think that this is meant to be just. It disguises it well, but I think it is meant to be more of a, he is
right.
purely bad.
That's kind of what I was saying. Like, there's nothing in Lucy Gray's story that like kind of forces this upon him. Like, he just kind of has that from the beginning, and it's slowly kind of realized throughout the film.
You mean forces the change for him to become full dictator, full
yeah.
Right.
So I did take your thought again. Fucking.
Right, interesting. Okay. I like that a lot. I guess that's a credit to the film because this is all making so much sense to me, but it's well disguised then because that's not how I read it initially because I did very much buy into the relationship, how much he cared. I sort of viewed it as, someone does ask him early in the movie. I think it's when like they're, I don't know, they're sitting around that. They're in like the class thing with Peter Dinklage in the middle. And someone asks him, when he starts giving tips on the Hunger Games and how to improve it and shit. And someone asks him, which one do you want? Do you care about Lucy Gray or do you want to make the Hunger Games better and more viewable? It was basically the essence of the question. And he said he says he wants both. So that's sort of where the two coin idea came from for me. But what Jaden's saying makes a lot of sense in that he only wants the Lucy Gray thing as an extension of the other thing, kind of thing, which is interesting. So I guess
I think even in one of the more pure moments of his emotion coming through after Sejanus dies, I think it's more of a self pity for him rather than for the death of his friend. In that, like, it's kind of.
Oh really? Wow, that's
like,
very
like I think there is a genuine emotion there, but like, if we're pushing the idea that he is singularly bad, I think it makes more sense for it to be it's meant to be more of a release of what have I done rather than my friend's gone, Right.
Yeah. That makes sense. I agree with that. So it is interesting. I think he does get to a point. Ultimately, what I think makes him sort of stop. I don't know. How do you want to word it? Like embrace who he is or whatever. Like where he just commits to the full evil, right? Because he is sort of in this thing where when he's in District 12 later in the film, I guess we'll just get to it. It's totally relevant. When he's there, he is very much, I feel like, in his actions trying to have it both ways at times. Because like Jaden admits, he does care about Lucy Gray, right? So he is, he still does, like, he agrees to run away with her and he does. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's a big deal.
Man, I didn't get very far. They fucking walked to that cabin earlier. I mean, like,
yeah. They walk like, I don't know, got the vibe it was like half a day or something. So yeah, no, he does agree to do that, and he does go out of his way to protect her and the resistance and shit, But I guess it's just a point. I viewed it as he just got to a point where he's making all these different choices in the third act that just start overlapping and contradicting with each other, and there's nowhere to go. One has to give in, basically, you know what I mean, in terms of protecting Lucy, committing to Lucy, or just, becoming who he's meant to be, or, becoming the evil tyrant guy. Because the two sides of it really are mainly, when he shoots the dude, when he kills those people and, protects the rebellion and, it being exposed and shit. And then the other one would be when he records, Sejanus, when he records the message and rats him out. It's like, though he's doing too much at once. He's just, at the end of the day, it can't be both. And
him running away was still for his own sake because he didn't want to get caught and hanged.
Right. Okay. Right.
Yeah.
And then him finding the guns, like, it was perfect for him. Like
it was perfect. Yeah. Well, exactly. Yeah. So I guess I viewed it. No, that's another way to interpret why he ran. That's a good point. I guess I just thought he did run for Lucy. I thought, but then when he sees the gun, and then at that point, because the whole thing with Lucy's fucked up by then. Which is a great scene in the cabin, by the way, when you both, it was like a gasp for me when they both know what's going on and they just like won't say that was genius. But it's at that point I thought, okay, he conveniently found the gun. He realizes he's in too deep and the gun's his way out, and that's his way to commit, basically, And then that's when he realizes, okay, well, this path with Lucy is like, this is now going to lead me nowhere because I fucked myself by trying to play all these different games and, lied to her about Sejanus and, he recorded the message to try and gain favor with the capital, obviously, and get a better position there. That's why he did it. So you can't do that and then, try and win over Lucy at the same time. It's just never going to work that way. So anyway, I just sort of viewed it as like the two paths converging to where he was ultimately inevitably going to be as a person,
Right. Okay.
if that makes sense. So that's kind of how I viewed it. But I guess, Jane, you're seeing it as less of that diverting path that culminates in more of this like, oh yeah, I just thought it was interesting when you said that he actually ran away with Lucy to protect himself in the first place. It was like there was never another path. Which
But once
also
again, he still ran away for her a little bit.
A little bit.
But it was just as a consequence of.
Yes, it's less so the two sides. Yeah.
Did he also shoot that the mayor's daughter because like in that room, like his self-motivated reason could be that like he was also associated with those people because he was standing in that room, right?
Yeah,
he would also be routed out of. Yeah,
that's what I was telling Janice as much of. He's like, I'm getting hanged just for knowing you. So like his,
yeah.
How do you feel about the name Janice? By the way, is
it like just one?
Is it one word?
Yeah. Actually, I actually don't mind it in terms of capital names.
It sounds like a Knight of the King's Guard, but like Sir Janice, not Sir Janice.
But I think the way it's spelled is SEJ, so it's not so much Sir, it's as Sejanus.
Sejanus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sejuani.
As far as names go, did you recognize any of the other name drops that they have in the movie? The Heavens Bees and the
hell yeah.
I don't know.
There was a crane, right?
Yeah,
there was a crane.
The bloody Jason Schwartzman.
Oh, was it?
Oh yeah, of course.
No. Sorry, he was he actually? No, he was Flickerman. Sorry, he was Flickerman.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Sorry, my bad.
Flickerman. Yeah.
He needs his own section in this podcast. By the way. Okay, shit. Hang on. I feel like I don't want to get too far away from this right now. So sorry to. Let's double down a little bit here.
Right.
Let's double down a little bit here. I definitely want to talk about those things, but the scene. I think that, are you talking about the scene specifically, Fitzy, in terms of the commitment scene? It's got to be when he's out in the woods and he's like sniffing what is it, like the blanket or the napkin, whatever it is.
The shawl.
The shawl. Okay, that is. I think that's it, right? And it's all non-verbal, which is great. And it was a great performance, but it does confuse me a bit because he does try and kill Lucy, you know.
But yeah. Well, I feel like it raises an interesting question, which is like, how does like an educated and like sophisticated and like a person who thinks he's moral convince himself that trying to do good just leads to kind of punishment and things turning sour. And this is how he kind of is able to justify it to himself by forcibly like going to 12 and putting himself as close to trouble as he can. And when the trouble kind of bites him in the back, he's like, oh well, this is what happens, when I get too close. So he's pre-cognitively like trying to figure out how to justify the path that he's already on to himself, kind of.
Interesting.
And like him almost killing Lucy, which leads to him, getting bit, is kind of like a mini proof of that whole story, I guess. Even with like being friends with, Plith's son, Sejanus, is like he's getting as close to he can as to like these causes that'll get him in trouble, I guess.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
I like that a lot. So the shot that confused me a little bit, you know how when he's running around the woods with the gun and shit and he starts firing and stuff, there's a brief shot where like it looks like sort of from his perspective like he did hit someone.
Yeah, I saw that being possibly explained by like the effects of the snake bite.
So was he bit first before that?
Yeah, he was already losing at that point.
Got it. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. That's cool. Okay, so really he just goes out into the woods, basically with the intent of killing Lucy, right? And then he starts firing, and that's really all we know. Like everything else is kind of.
I don't think the intent was to. Oh wait. Do you mean like from the initial set out, or from when he leaves the cabin?
From when he leaves the cabin.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he wanted to kill Lucy. I think the cabin he realized, oh shit, yeah, I'm fucked.
Yeah,
I've got to do this now.
It's gotta happen.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I guess everything after the snake bite, it is sort of just we're sort of in his head. We sort of don't know what's going on. I mean, I guess. Oh yeah, because I guess the other bit of evidence was like the footprints, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I sort of have no reason to believe that she died. To be honest,
Nah.
unless I'm misreading this.
No, I don't think so. I think it's just left a mystery, even in the book, I think.
Yeah, but like I don't know. I feel like she definitely survived, right?
Mm.
Just ran off somewhere, hanging out.
Yeah, she survived everything. She survived the games. Survived snow.
Survived
Running out
snow.
with a gun.
Yeah.
As
absolutely.
as Peter Dinklage warned her,
Yeah, true. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like she ultimately in the story, she represents freedom, right? She represents, the in a way like a pre version of like Katniss and the Rebellion, and like just in a small form in this time, So like, I feel like it sort of makes perfect sense if you just imagine her like she went off free, like, and she's just out there, I feel like it makes sense.
Traveling musician.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, no, I thought that all that was really interesting. 100%. I thought good conversation, good for us. I thought this was all very good. Another very interesting I wanted to talk about was the choice to include Donald Sutherland's line at the end of the film, and what we think that means. You know what I mean? I feel like it has to like culminate the whole thing. It has to represent the whole thing in a nutshell. So like it ends the film. It summarizes the film. I feel like it has to summarize this conversation. He says it's the things we love most that destroy us, and I was trying to I guess my earlier thoughts of what I was saying was trying to figure out if he means that like his love for Lucy Gray could have destroyed him from becoming a tyrant, but then he sort of killed that, or if he's maybe I don't think he'd be self-aware enough, would he, to believe that like it's the opposite, that he's like love for power and greed, like he destroys his humanity. Like why would he say that about himself? I don't really. That's the only two thoughts that came to mind, but
like the quote, it would make sense if like Lucy Gray turned out to be like not as selfless as like we thought she was. Maybe that's what Snow. That's kind of what I was talking about with Snow, like trying to justify it. So maybe he does feel that Lucy Gray betrayed him, or he's trying to convince himself of that, right? Because otherwise, how does that quote make sense? In that because in the end, she was kind of not a selfish person. She kind of just the snake thing was just like self defense, but maybe he's forced the situation so that he can see it as otherwise, I guess.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I think if you look at it as him having love for his friend as well, I think that destroys him throughout the film, and it constantly gives him bad he faces consequences of having a friend.
In that sense, is it his philosophy in a nutshell to, I don't know, like not he's able to ascend so high and become president after this because he's self-aware, like he's fully aware of that is his philosophy, so he doesn't love or attach himself to things, and he fully has
distance. Because we see even Tigress gets relegated to just being like just someone that lives in the capital with her own little shop.
Right. And could you say that the experience we've brought up here with Sir Janice and with Lucy Gray, like that sort of, he was on this path already, as you're arguing, but like, these relationships that he does care about popping up on the side, but then he sees the consequences of them for him, and then he like commits to killing them, basically. He commits to not doing them, not falling for people, He's basically becomes sort of heartless to get to the top, I guess.
The consequences are driven by him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this is how he's forcing himself to justify it this way, right? Because so James being killed was a byproduct of him, sending the message to the capital.
Yeah.
Right. So like he's done that, and then he's acting like, oh, I had friends, and this happened all by itself, so I shouldn't have friends. You know what I mean? Even though he did do something to like influence that, and he didn't have to do that. So he's forcibly like forgetting about that, right? He's forcibly
Right.
He's forcibly like, putting that out of his mind completely, that it's his own doing. But he's acting like it's just the association with friends and people he loves that is doing this.
Got
But
it.
it's not really.
Yeah. So do you think like what I'm saying is what he thinks, but it's inherently flawed?
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think that's what I've been saying. I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. I know. I understand. I understand. That's great. That's like I feel like it's at the end of the film on purpose to like it has summarize the whole thing and like that summarize it. Like here's the bad guy's ultimate final philosophy / justification here at the end of a film here, and if you think about it, it's bullshit because of course it is. He's the evil dictator. You know what I mean? That's what I feel like Suzanne would say about the character. You know?
Yeah, I don't think it makes much sense because again, he's initiating all this. But yeah,
Hang on, but I feel like. Hang on,
I feel like we're agreeing with you, Liam, but then you keep on
but
saying
then you keep saying like we're not agreeing with you. I don't really get it.
No, I'm just confirming what we're saying.
Okay.
I wasn't disagreeing.
Okay.
It
just feels like it's.
But yeah. I agree with you, Jad. Okay. No, that's cool. I think we're on the same page. Let's now get into some of the other cast guys. Jane's already brought up a few. I thought the acting was top notch across the board. To be honest, I thought it was of a higher caliber than in most, big budget films like this. So I thought that was great. I thought Peter Dinklage was fantastic, and particularly his final scene. And it was so good because it made me like that final scene was like it made me realize what should have been obvious to me way earlier. Because again, I was buying into this a little bit. I was buying into the Snow being a good dude, Lucy Gray, let's go, So for me, when he had that moment where we learned that he co-created the games. He never wanted the games. Well, it was an accident basically that then Snow's father took the idea of the games that he blabbered about as a joke. He feels responsible for that. His whole thing is that that's why he's like an addict the whole movie. He hates the games. He wants them to die. And then when I realized like the whole movie, I was basically rooting against this guy. This guy, he's annoying. He keeps putting barriers in Snow's way. He keeps, you know what I mean? He's annoying for Snow, so this guy sucks. And then I get to the end and I realize, this guy just actually wanted to end the Hunger Games the whole time, which is very admirable of him.
And he's so
trying
close.
Exactly. He was so close and he's trying to do it from the inside. And it's like, makes tons of sense. He feels guilty about it. But then, like, I realized I was rooting for the guy who was trying to perpetuate the Hunger Games for generations to come. You know what I mean? And I just thought it was a really interesting flip of the script that, at least for me, like worked based on the relationships I had with the characters at that time. So yeah, Peter Dinklage was actually heroic when I thought he was a pain in the ass. So that's why I thought that scene was so good. Did you guys feel that at all, by the way? Was I just being a bit of a dullard?
Yeah. It felt a bit annoying that like in each scene with Snow and him, they kind of like alluded to the fact that like he hated him for some reason, and they kept saying that until they revealed it at the very end. But it was a good reveal, a good like bit of lore, I guess.
Yeah. And it's set up right from the first scene when he's like, I don't know what that shit I guess they're drugs or something. I don't know what he's doing. In that first scene where he's got that little vial or something.
Yeah,
I think it's a form of morphine, isn't it? Because they call it like morphling or some shit.
Morphling. Okay. Yeah, I mean it's set up right from then, and makes perfect sense. Jane already says he disliked Hunter Schafer, so
Did I even fucking say that? I don't know. Don't put words in my mouth. Liam said that.
Yeah, as you.
And then I said her character was awkward because her character was awkward because she just kind of clasps her hands and says random shit and just I don't know, just doesn't really do much and just kind of sits around, stares and just.
I was a bit disappointed by that actually, that she didn't have like a bigger role as like one of the loved ones that Snow would be talking about, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Well,
no. Sorry. Go for it. Sorry.
No, like they set her up a bit as like someone who's going to be more important, but she's kind of she's kind of like like just a reminder in the back of his head, like the rent and these people are going and all this kind of thing.
Yeah.
That they kind of bring up every half an hour or something, but She's still fine.
Right. It was upsetting that she goes on to become a fairy, you know? I didn't really like that. But no, she worked for me. I thought she was great in the film, and I thought that I know she's like that moral. She's interesting in that she's like the moral conscience, you know, constantly reminding him that like, you know, be nice to the district people. That, you know, but basically like the anti-classism thing, which is like important for Snow to hear. And like I was sort of hoping he'd hear it a bit more, which I don't know, don't think he did by the end. But so she served that role, but then it's also a strong motivator, like, you know, like we said with the rent, and, you know, wanting a better life for his family. It's like, you know, that scene when he calls her from 12, you know, that I feel like that was a strong motivator for him. So I don't know. It's interesting in that she wouldn't want him to do the things he's doing, but he's doing them because of her partly, you know. So, or at least you know, we could argue that maybe he thinks he is or isn't or whatever. But like, at least I think in the film, it is wanting a better life for them is a motivator for him. So I thought the role made perfect sense. Yeah. Viola Davis was creepy as fuck. You know.
Did she ever play that? She felt like a capital person in 7 years in the future. You know, not
right. Felt a bit Roald Dahlish to me. You know, I didn't mind it though, but I didn't have an issue with it.
Yeah.
It stood out.
Yeah, her and Schwartzman being like having like their own version of it, like a hammed up performance was, you know, like they were both entertaining in their own way. I guess.
Yes.
Maybe she influenced, you know, the fashion for the future. Maybe that's why she's so like outlandish.
Probably. That's probably true. Speaking of Schwartzman, dude, they really leaned into him. You know what I mean? I feel like when I was praising Stanley Tucci in the other reviews, I think Stanley Tucci's great as Caesar in the other films. I feel like he's more of a hidden gem in those films. You know what I mean? Where like he's there, he serves his role, and like I'm getting a lot of entertainment out of just his little lines and shit. Like, but that aren't explicitly there to entertain me. You know what I mean? They're there for the plot. They're there for the story, but I just think they're entertaining. I feel like this time they like really doubled down and they're just like, we're just going to insert tons of dialogue just for this character. Literally just for like comedic / entertainment value, which, you know, I'm not against. But I was wondering if, I don't know if you guys would thought it might be too much at points, because I got there a little bit, but he was objectively pretty funny.
Objectively funny.
Poor choice of words, you know.
No, I really liked him. I liked that everything that he is and how it mirrors Caesar in the future.
He looks like Caesar too, right?
Yeah, I think it was a good. I think it was a good choice in casting as well. I don't know. I feel like he really gets Stanley. You know, really.
Yeah, it really felt like a descendant of the same character, which I enjoyed. Were there any other cast members? Like, were there any tributes that we knew?
No, my mum said the guy with the guy with only one arm, which I think Snow kills, he was Australian, but
oh really?
Not that I know anything about him. Yeah.
I think a lot of the tributes were first time actors. You know, when I was looking through.
I saw a bit of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the sick girl from Seven, I think.
Oh yeah.
Like, for example.
Walking tuberculosis.
Yeah. But I think like even like the lumberjack characters, whatever district they're from, maybe they're Seven. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think they were first time actors as well and shit. Yeah.
Yeah. The okay. No, that's cool. I mean, I feel like we almost brushed over the fact that Snow killed a guy and enjoyed it.
I killed a guy and I liked it.
That was pretty much the whole scene. That the District 12 officer guy was very familiar to me.
Oh yeah, dude, he's in everything. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know what from.
Dude,
for me,
I literally searched it up last night and I've already forgotten. He was in The Dark Knight.
He's in The Dark Knight?
Dark Knight Rises. Yeah. No, he's in Dark Knight Rises, isn't it? I can't remember Dark Knight. But
is he in Game of Thrones?
Flickerman's
so.
what was he saying? Oh yeah, Lucretius is actually like they're descendants or whatever. They're both Flickerman, Caesar and Lucretius and Schwartzman. So he's like his, I don't know, granddad or some shit, which is fun.
Wait, what are you talking about?
It's Jason Schwartzman and Stanley Tucci. They're both
They're
Flickr.
related.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, did you guys already get that?
I thought that was
Yeah,
obvious.
their last name was Flickerman. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You can cut that. That's all right.
No, that's cool. That's cool. I thought you were saying that. I thought you were saying the District 12 officer guy is also related to the Flickermans. I was like, what?
No, never mind.
I guess let's talk about the games a little bit. I feel like they usually would get a stronger, larger section in this review. But, they get a bit of a lesser role in the film too, so I guess that sort of makes... What do you guys think of this rudimentary version of the games? It's probably my least favourite aspect of the movie, to be honest.
Well, I think it was a good place to show how it evolved from here as well. Like the way that... Well,
That's true.
I think another cool aspect was the fact that the act of rebellion in the background was cool. But the fact that they changed the stadium for the first time is probably what gives Snow the idea to create, to then generate new stadiums in future games as well, like in that instance. And having that element of surprise rather than having the structured stadium becomes part of the spectacle of the show.
I thought that was cool too, but I thought that's what was going to happen in this movie, because when they get there and it's just like this Coliseum thing, I was
that wasn't the trailer.
Oh, okay. I thought it was cool in that, like, oh, look, it's like this, earlier version of the games. We see how they evolve. That's cool. But then I thought when it was bombed, that then that was going to be the reason. Then they start. Then the real games were going to start, and they were going to be like it was going to be the first actual arena. Like the ones we're sort of used to, like maybe an older version. You know what I mean? So then when they still did the games in that little Coliseum thing, I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. Like the size, I don't know. It was okay, but like the size of it was just odd. Like it felt like such a small space. Like how did it even last that long? You know what I mean? Like the fact characters couldn't find each other and see each other. Every time they tried to convince me that a character couldn't see another character like behind them doing something in this space was kind of weird. So yeah, I don't know. I like the idea of it though, in terms of like having the Hunger Games used to be in this little tiny arena, and then it went from there after Snow. Like I like that conceptually.
Yeah, well, it makes sense because High Bottom's trying to make it as boring as possible. But yeah,
true. That's true.
It used to be over quickly,
Hell yeah,
I guess that was the point. It wasn't entertainment. Yeah.
No, I mean it was basically just like watching executions. Like, why would you watch it?
And why do people go and watch gladiators fight each other? It's cool.
Like, Jaden's a supporter of it. Jaden would watch the Hunger Games in that form. But yeah, was there any action? Because it was still a substantial part of the movie. I don't want to underplay it. Sorry. Was there any action that stood out to you guys?
Snow. I mean, Snow's like resourcefulness in the movie was pretty cool. Like the way he used the bottles in that scene was, that was a cool like Deus Machina to a tense moment, a resolution, I guess.
Yeah, the drones were pretty funny. They were just.
I love how it's established that they can bring in like a shit ton of things, but they only ever send water.
The whole idea of like them sending in care packages in that small of an arena like kind of confused me at first too. It's like, how can you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like the other games that make sense because the arenas are so large. People have space and shit. It's like, I'll send this guy some water, even if the drones did work. Like, I'll send this guy some water, and then like everyone can just see it. It's a location giveaway. In terms of building on like the conceptual element of that we were talking about, I really did enjoy like how they handled a lot of the other Origin elements in terms of, the games being in the Coliseum arena was good. The tributes being like the way they were just treated was very interesting. Being brought in on that train, specifically mentioned that, it was a terrible, basically like a Holocaust level experience on the train. I mean, with the guy was bit by the rat or whatever, got rabies. And then they're thrown into a zoo. It's like, wow, to starve. Obviously, very cool to see that as such a strong contrast to the original films where, you get the whole thing is that you get the huge buffets, the luxury train, the elite training centers that make up the first halves of those films. So I just thought it was cool. And it makes so much sense to see how Snow's whole perspective on, making it more watchable and entertaining would progress from here, to that stuff. But, and again, it makes perfect sense. But I never would have thought of it, to see how tributes used to be treated before him. And it's like, is it any better? Arguably not. You could argue it's like it's like putting lipstick on a pig or whatever. Polishing a turd. In terms of like the idea of bad analogies, but you know what I mean. Like the idea of the games are bad no matter what. Like let's not try and give him credit for treating them a bit better, giving them some dessert before they're executed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So Jonas
But yes,
says that. He says like, "Oh, we're just going to fatten them up now, or whatever. Fatten up
right.
the pigs."
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Which is exactly what it is. But it makes me appreciate the original films. Stuff I just took for granted in them. Like I never really thought it was going to be any other way with the train and the treatment.
Treat the tributes humanely,
Did you guys expect Snow to become a peacekeeper? The whole part 3 sort of turn of the narrative, was that surprising and a strong aspect for you guys? Because the fact that the games were over and we still had all that time left and seeing him go into exile was just a cool part of the story I just never would have thought was going to come.
I think this kind of goes to what Liam was saying about how with the trailer he knew how the games would play out and that there would be something afterwards in the way that we see them interact. But I just took it as like when we see them together in the trailer, like in 12, I just thought that was like pre-games and that was just him as a mentor getting to know his tribute. So I didn't think all those scenes were going to be pissy. I thought that was just going to be him as normal. So when they threw that aspect in, that was fun.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I knew that he would become a peacekeeper from the trailers, but I didn't think it would be like so extensive or like a punishment or like an after kind of story. But it worked for what it was.
Sorry. So the trailer actually showed him as a peacekeeper.
I think it did.
Yeah,
in helmet at least.
Oh, that's a bummer. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I was totally. When it came out part 3, the peacekeeper, I was like, oh, that's cool. I was not expecting this.
He's kind of he's kind of like Napoleonic. His character, with like if we were to go by the way that the Napoleon TV ads are currently running, soldier at 16, general at 24, and then emperor at 36. Like that's pretty much Snow.
Yeah, definitely. Oh yeah. So hang on. I think the shot you're talking about, Fitz, you saw in the trailer, and that sort of spoiled it a bit for you. Like that sunny place where they meet in District 12. Is that the same spot as the epilogue in Mockingjay Part 2?
Oh, I was thinking that because of like the rolling hills and stuff.
Looks exactly the same. That's what I figured it was, but I don't know.
Like in the movies before that, like in the first 2 or whatever, it feels like they don't have as much like open space. Like that's not really available to them. So that would have been like closed off or whatever. And then but it does look similar.
I think you guys were talking about outside the cinema how 12 feels a lot more substantial than this. I think it makes sense that over time it becomes like a shanty town as a form of Snow exacting revenge against 12 and how he feels wronged by it. And just gets less and less funding, less and less looked after, and just kind of poverty is left to kind of fester.
Yeah, but it's still 1/12 of an entire country, and it still feels like it's a small town. I like that idea, like if that in terms of like looking at like the buildings and the sets and stuff, but like just the scale is a bit weird still.
True.
It had a bit more scale in this, I thought. Again, not to the extent it probably should still, but maybe there's still a part of this lore I'm not getting. I don't know. I thought the score was fantastic.
Yes.
James Newton Howard comes in again.
He's done all of them, yeah. He was there from 4.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, really good. How did we feel about the callbacks and some of the references in terms of like, obviously the Katniss mention? Was it too much? I enjoyed I bring that up with the score because I enjoyed like the musical nods, but
I like that just with the callbacks. I like how they recontextualize the hanging tree, because in the original when Katniss sings it, you kind of imagine it as being like this evil guy who murdered his family or some shit is the one that killed 3, and that's why they're showing him up. But then when you find out it was a freedom fighter who didn't actually do anything wrong or whatever, and the way that it's actually like a revolution song, and then it becomes a revolution song again, I quite like that,
Yeah, that's a good point.
I liked, I don't know, just on that, I did like Rachel's singing throughout the film.
Oh, absolutely. Sorry,
yeah.
yes. Yeah. That's worth a huge shout out to that, no doubt. The only trivia I had is that she sang all of the songs live on set.
Wow.
A plus.
I didn't expect it to have a southern accent. Like even after she sang, I was still like, I was shocked when she started like speaking.
Yeah,
It worked.
that's very true.
That's good.
That's very true. Fitzy made that comment milliseconds before I was about to say she sang way better than Emma Stone in La La Land. So, but I still got it in. Excellent. Yeah, yeah.
Well, did you not hate it when like she started singing? Like, don't you like hate that when like a musical piece is like injected into a normal film? Didn't you say that you didn't like that once?
When it breaks the reality of the film.
Oh, okay. So because the characters are in on it, it's all good.
Well, it's just diegetic or whatever you want to say. It's in universe. They're just singing a song in the movie. It's fine.
Okay.
They don't,
Yeah, like they break out a dance number.
yeah, they don't start acting in a way where it's like, okay, now I understand. Like I'm not meant to actually, you know what I'm saying? In West Side Story, are you telling me that like they're actually dancing in this moment? They're not. It's like it's meant to be like, I don't know, whatever you want to say. It's like it's another level of reality in the story. You know what I mean?
Uh huh.
She's just singing. She's just a lady singing in a movie. You know?
Okay. You don't care if she sings.
No, got nothing against the singing.
It's only against Emma Stone.
Exactly, 100%. All right. Andy wrote in his review for The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and he says, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is not totally perfect, but one could tell it's not trying to be the most superior movie of the franchise. It wants to present themselves as a humble origin story. Coming from a person who loved Donald Sutherland's President Snow, you're amongst good company. It succeeds in every way possible due to the continuous charm of his younger self, played by Tom Blythe. His character arc simply comes in a perfect, satisfying circle, and that's all I could ask for out of this experience. Exciting watch. 7 out of 10. Thank you, Andy. Thank you. I know Andy was a bit of a Hunger Games doubter, as you know, Jaden, in terms of calling them generic.
What did he give the first one? Did he give the first one a 6?
I don't know. Is that true? Maybe.
I can't remember. I think he started off the series low, because of his perception of the films as being mainstream and blockbustery. But
Yes.
I think he's come to appreciate them.
Like I said, I think this one doesn't feel like that a lot, so that's probably why he likes it. Very good. Luke also like. Am I meant to read this?
No.
This is what I was talking about with this whole contract with Luke and writing in a letterboxd review, and because I think he expects.
Oh,
me
he
to
does
read
expect it, doesn't he? Oh, yeah.
But this feels like it's just like a funny little letterboxd review for himself. You know what I mean? Or like for our viewing pleasure on Letterboxd. It's not it's not a show content review. You know what I'm saying?
It's a bad joke as well.
Well, I wasn't going to comment on that, but Luke said 8 out of 10. Very confused. Where was Katniss Everdeen? I was confused too. Well, they said, as we said, they said Katniss. She was there in the ground. This is confusing to me, Luke. I guess everyone just follow Luke on Letterboxd, and then don't complain when I don't read these ones. How about that?
I think it was something interesting that the film made me realize was the fact that the mayor or like anyone governmental in the districts was actually capital still. Like they weren't. For some reason, I just assumed that the mayor would still be elected by the district, and they would be a representative of them. But then, like, no, that doesn't make sense. Like, of course they're going to be capital, and like this film finally made me realize it in the way that the mayor and his daughter, and the way that he bought the reaping to make sure that Lucy got selected. That's
such trash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So kudos to this film for making me finally realize something that should have been obvious.
There you go. It's doing it for both of us with this Hunger Games universe. Realizing all this obvious shit. Yeah, exactly. I didn't realize that either.
Of course, the dictatorship isn't going to allow elections. Like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
Think, Jaden. It's like,
yeah. That's true actually. Because I never thought they were democratically elected, but at the same time, yeah, I didn't think it was. I don't know what I thought. Let's get into our final thoughts, verdict on The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. We'll do a ranking as well. Maybe that'll bring out some more. I don't know. Jaden, what are you going to give it?
I was going into this expecting an A, but I quite liked our discussion, to be honest.
Good.
For once, you added something of value. I'm just.
More so than the Fifth Element, for sure.
Yeah. No, dude. Do I leave it on a strong A? Do I leave it on a 9? I'll be positive. I'm gonna chuck a 9 on it. I'll put a 9 on it. In terms of ranking, though, I don't know if it surpasses the first film. I think I love it for its world that it creates, but I think the first film, albeit with a lower score, it does now have, but I think the first film's still the strongest one.
Really? I'm sorry. You like the first film more than Catching Fire?
Do I? I don't know. I think I do. I don't know. It's a tough one.
So okay, so these three are in top contention. Then, so where do you like Mockingjay Part 2 better than Part 1?
Yeah.
Interesting. I saw Francis Lawrence said that he wished Mockingjay was one movie. By the way.
Yeah. So actually, just on that. Sorry, I had to interrupt now after you decided to move on.
I'm sorry.
Do you think that this could have been made into like a 3-episode miniseries or something like that, just to? Because I think that would have eased out some of the awkwardness of character introductions and some of the dialogue that kind of just feels kind of too skipped over or something like that, and just given it that little bit more time to breathe, you know. What would that be? Like, it'd still end up at a similar time, but I think having that short series structure just gives that would give that a little more, you know. It's like he shouldn't have learnt his lesson from Mockingjay, and he should have still split it up the story.
No, I don't agree. Well, so he said there was a fair bit cut in this movie, I think.
Was there?
Yeah. So, yeah, I totally understand what you were saying about the dialogue in that opening stuff, but like for me, it didn't really bother me personally, and it doesn't justify cutting this up.
I haven't read the book yet, so I don't know how much is missing from the book, but from what we've seen on screen, I think that had it been made into a short form television show or even 2 movies, we could have explored the current rebellion that was still going a bit more. I think he could have done a bit more district work in terms of other districts other than just 12. I don't know. I think it could have worked. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. No, I'm all for the standalone. I'm all for it. Anyway, sorry, Fitzy, what are you going to give this film?
I'll give it a 7. I'll give it a 7. I'll give it a very strong 7.
Okay.
Like, I think I like the kind of the justification for Snow's behavior that I kind of invented, but
I like it a lot too.
Yeah, but I still want to see if it like kind of stands the test of time, I guess, in my mind. So
yeah.
No, it's a strong 8 for me. This is definitely going to be on my top 10 for the year, for sure. Like I said, felt like it was about something, you know, and I loved our conversation about it, and I feel like few movies this size of an established franchise have us debating a character so extensively. So I thought that was really strong about it, for sure. And like I said, the fact it doesn't like end in the Hunger Games, you know what I mean? It just felt like it didn't give a fuck about making sure the Hunger Games was X amount of runtime or making sure it checked boxes or whatever. It did its thing, and that was evidenced in having the third act there at all, you know?
I think it's going to make me reevaluate my previous scores.
Well, you've opened a whole can of worms with which one you like most out of those 3. My ranking is... Okay, not enough time has passed for me to put this above Catching Fire yet, but it could. Catching Fire, this film, the first one, Part 2, Part 1. Fitzy, we need your ranking.
Me? Catching Fire, Part 2, this, Hunger Games, and then Part 1.
Okay. I didn't realize you like Part 2 that much.
Like, yeah, I like Part 2 a lot, yeah.
Cool. Okay. Very nice. Okay, there it is. 5 months of Hunger Games is over. Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? Let me tell you, if we can do it, anyone can. And that's thanks to Zencaster. Like a lot of other podcasts out there, our show is recorded over the web every week. But trying to record a podcast with platforms like Zoom and Discord can be an audio quality disaster. I'm sure you've heard some of the podcasts I'm talking about with long delays, sound cutting in and out. It is not pleasant. Zencaster captures studio quality sound for all of your guests right from your web browser. Zencaster's multi-layered backups ensure you always have your recordings in the highest quality, even if the connection is unstable. And with Zencastr's all-in-one platform, you can create and distribute your podcast to Spotify, Apple, and other major destinations all in one place. Go to zencastr.com/pricing and use our code CinemaEffect to get 30% off your first month of any paid plan. That's zencastr.com/pricing with promo code CinemaEffect with an E for 30% off today. Feel a sense of Zen with Zencastr. There's no news chat this week. Let's get into our highlights of the week. Holy moly, Jaden, what have you been watching?
I watched The Boogeyman. This is an adaptation of the Stephen King work, apparently, and it was quite incredible, to be honest. I wasn't expecting it. I was expecting it to be kind of trashy, but it genuinely scared me throughout. I think horror films that play on kind of primal fears of like the dark and seeing things at the edge of your vision are always super effective. And this movie had me scared. If you're not afraid of the dark, this movie will make you scared of the dark. I don't know. The story is quite decent. The characters are fantastic. The acting is really great. It stars some random chick, but she was quite good. But it also features old mate from everyone, little Leia, and she does so much of a better job in this film than she does in everyone. She actually, watching her in this made me forget that she's an actress, and I just thought that she was a child. That was just it felt real. It felt super real, her performance in this. And I was like, fuck. I was like, damn, that's good acting, especially in contrast to everyone. I'm just
hater.
Yeah, I was quite blown away by it, to be honest, because I was going in with pretty low expectations. And it's just it's a neat 100-minute horror movie. There's nothing drawn out, so it was good.
Excellent. So I take it it's new if it's got her in it.
Yes, yeah, this year.
I was going to ask, is this like a 90s film?
Yeah. She's a fucking embryo, and
Oh yeah. Okay. Excellent. Do you guys, speaking of 2023 films, do you guys want to choose for me between Tetris and Pain Hustlers?
Maybe Pain Hustlers.
Sure.
I feel like I haven't heard anything about that film.
Is that seconded?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Pain Hustlers is directed by David Yates, which is why I wanted to watch it. Yeah, obviously a very different film for him. It's not like I'm seeing a lot of crossover in directorial style between Potter or anything. But it's got Emily Blunt, it's got Chris Evans, and it's basically about the opioid crisis, and all the system of that have. I don't know if it legally can even happen here, if it has happened here. To be honest, I'm being ignorant on that. But in the US, when pharmaceutical companies basically manipulate doctor prescriptions to get doctors to prescribe their drug through dodgy means, aka bribery / flirtation, and then make a shitload of money off of prescribing drugs that people should not be having, basically. It's sort of an injustice film in that way. If anyone knows that TV show Dope Sick,
I was about to say, sounds like something like that.
It's the same thing. It's not the same story. It's not the same company or the same story. Both based on true stories, but it's not like the same event. But it's the same idea in terms of the subject matter. So yes, it's about that. But I don't know. Dope Sick was boring to me. So this sort of jammed in all the same stuff in 2 hours, which I liked. But it was a good film. I liked it. Emily Blunt is great as always, but very much Emily Blunt doing an American accent, doing her thing, but not taking nothing away from it. So the performances that really stood out to me were, I really like Chris Evans. Chris Evans just now that he's free from Captain America, man, he can just play a good scumbag. You know what I mean? Every time, look at Knives Out. He's like the villain in The Grey Man, right? Too.
You should watch Grey Man.
I know you keep telling me it's on my list. He plays this scumbag in the film who's kind of, it's not over the top. I thought it was quite a good performance. It's not an over the top scumbag. It's not a movie scumbag. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, this guy's an asshole. Clearly, it's he's totally understandable, totally relatable. Quite grounded. I quite cared about him, but he was a scumbag in the story. That's what he was. He was. At the end of the day, he was not a great person. You know what I mean? So I just thought that was great. Andy Garcia dude in this movie, hilarious. Underrated. Everyone, he's going to fly under the radar probably first of all because no one will recognize it's Andy Garcia. And in like his third scene, I'm like, wait, is that Andy Garcia? Because he's got this beard. It's like you can't. He's almost unrecognizable to me. But I'm a big Andy Garcia fan, as we know from the Oceans reviews. So him popping up in this, and he delivers a performance that is quite. It's like subtly hilarious, in my opinion. It's not like he's not a comedic character, but like I don't know. I thought everything they did. I mean, the movie makes fun of his character because he's like the evil CEO guy, but I just thought the performance would like really lean into it. It was really funny. And yeah, so the story was actually decent because it was only 2 hours long. It breezed by, and yeah, some good performances. So Pain Houses was pretty decent. I liked it. Anyway, Fizzy, I'm sorry. What have you been watching?
I only watched the. I caught up on Invincible season 2.
Oh, you did? Okay, great.
Yeah, I watched like half of the first episode like a week ago or something, but I just need to reacclimate myself to the series. And no, it was pretty great. It was, great as usual. It's kind of expanded on the world a little bit. It's got the Viltrumites are kind of becoming like more central to the story. So the story's kind of getting the scope of the story's getting bigger in that way.
Who were the Viltrumites again? Was that Mark?
I don't remember anything about the
it was Mark's dad, Nolan's people who like conquer worlds and stuff.
Yeah.
And Nolan was like the he was the person who was set to conquer Earth. He was kind of like put on guard there. So yeah, they're becoming more central, and they kind of added this like galactic like council as well who wants to like rid of the Viltrumites. And they introduced them in this really cool like side story character that you see in the first season, and that episode is really great. And as Luke said, there is a great Nick Cave needle drop in one of the episodes.
Is it a song or is it a voice? I mean,
No, it's like a full song, and it's like a key key like scene as well, like a kind of reintroduction kind of scene. So that was pretty awesome. But yeah, the show's still really funny and stuff, so it's still really great.
Yeah, I love season 1, but I just don't remember it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Does Mark and Omni-Man still live at home? Like, do they hate each other and they still live in the same house or shit?
Nah, he's Nolan, vanished after the last season.
Did he? Okay.
He's not really allowed back on Earth for the time being.
I thought it'd be funny if like they're like smacking the shit out of each other during the day and just at night.
Dude, after that beating at the end of season 1, holy shit. Okay, now comes the segment where we hand the show over to you with our question of the show. Last week we asked you, you can make a prequel to anything. You have all the power, Liam. What would it be? Dr. Luke said. This is all he wrote this week? Come on, Luke. Come on.
Yeah, I know. It's fucking terrible.
I wish there were prequels to Star Wars. I would love to know how Anakin became Darth Vader.
It's 2 bad jokes in the space of a week, Spooky.
Thank God we have those evil Anakin emotes. They're perfect for that. Aiden, this was interesting, actually. Aiden said, kind of wish Ridley Scott properly wrapped up his Alien prequels better than it was, than what it is now. I'm sorry. Yeah. That's true. Obviously, we've reviewed all those, and I agree. Obviously, that's it. Those exist. But it does feel like they weren't wrapped up, so I agree. That's interesting. But they are doing like a show or another movie, right? I think. Alien?
Yeah, I think there's something, isn't there?
There's something coming.
I think it was announced at like the Disney thing like fucking 4 years ago.
Yeah, honestly, I think that's true.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll still see that. Who knows? Andy said, Ted Lasso, but as an American football coach before he went to England for real football. I don't care about American sports enough, but would still be down to watch it. Yeah, that's solid.
Is Ted a successful coach in American football? Is that okay? Yeah, okay. So it is canon.
No, he's not like an NFL coach. Like, he's not the top or anything. But like,
okay.
Like he was, I think he was a college I think it was like a successful Kansas college football coach. So like
No.
it's like decent, I think.
They
He
do
wasn't
take
like
the college level fucking football pretty seriously, to be honest.
Yeah, if I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Don't quote me. I'm not an expert, but yeah, he was a good coach. Yes, I'd always be down for more Ted Lasso. Okay, this is an interesting question because it sort of raises like, what do you want more like story of, more exploration of, more world building of, or what do you just want to see more of the same character in an earlier time? There's all different kind of angles. But yeah, Jan, what do you think?
I thought this would be. I thought I'd be spoiled for options here, but it goes back to what I was saying earlier in the review about how like watching this prequel made me realize how perfectly placed other stories are in universe, and like how like context clues are given enough of history that you don't really need prequels.
Mm.
So I struggled a bit, but I think what I landed on was that the prequel that I want and the format I want it in is, and we've probably, I think we've just talked about this before, and it probably is what we're getting in terms of the adaptation. But I want a Horizon Zero Dawn prequel set pre-apocalypse, following the last days, following Elizabeth Sobeck, and like make it like a really tight political thriller. Give like Gilroy like a writing credit, and like partner him with someone from Guerrilla so you can like mimic what he did with Andor, or like throw Damon Lindelof in there because I'll always trust him. But give me like this tight political thriller. Give me the big players. Give me Ted. Give me Elizabeth. Give me Carrie Ann Moss, and just show us that angle of her trying to stop the end of the world. And I think it would make for amazing television. Just 8 episodes of just pure, just fucking, just tight dialogue, and just, I don't know.
Turned into Tuco for a second there.
Yeah. I was just thinking that. Tight.
Yeah, but I think that would be amazing. Is that the adaptation we're getting? Sorry, from Netflix, or is that we don't?
Well,
know?
Yes. So yeah, no. So yeah, it's interesting because the Netflix, in terms of the format you've brought up. So Netflix, yeah, the Netflix show is that, but it's that mixed with Aloy. So it's like going to be like part. So my question is, so yes, we're getting it, which is cool, and I totally agree. I think it's a great answer, but like, how effective is it going to be in this format of splitting the stories? You know what I mean? I don't know if it's going to ultimately. Obviously, we'll watch it and we'll see. But is it going to fulfill what you're hoping for out of the tight political aspect if it has to split time? So we'll have to wait and see. But yes, in terms of the idea of following Elizabeth, they are doing that on Netflix.
Are they bringing Carrie Ann Moss back? Surely
they should. Makes perfect sense, right? Yeah, this is interesting. For me, I found that like a lot of stuff that I thought, oh yeah, there's plenty of. I was the same, plenty of answers. I thought. Went and realized, for me, I've actually sort of got them.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, House of the Dragon. Oh yeah, that's great. My favorite, like some of my favorite stories already are prequels, like Red Dead Redemption 2. It's like, that's a prequel. Can I have a prequel to a prequel? Maybe, I don't know. There's that. So, and then like, I think there's still an argument to be made for Harry Potter because what we got wasn't really satisfactory. Like you can do something different, but yes, we have got that, so.
You see, I didn't even think about the ones we currently have. When I was thinking Harry Potter, I thought of the Marauders.
The Marauders?
Yeah, like James's time at Hogwarts is what I thought.
Oh, okay.
Because people do love like those 4 characters in fan fiction.
Right. I mean, that would be a fun way to. I don't know anything about the fan fiction, and I don't want to know. That would be a fun way to sort of to get back into the Hogwarts side of things and like be like, do Hogwarts be at a school? That's cool. Channel that energy. The one I always have heard about that would like the idea that sticks out to me is like doing like the founders of Hogwarts. That sticks out to me. But yeah, I still think there's so much potential in that world, which is why them potentially remaking the doing the books again is like makes me want to jump on a spike or some shit because like, all right. Anyway, I looked to what the hell hasn't been done? I looked to HBO again, and I looked to an interesting one. I really want Fitzy's take on this. Fitzy, would you watch a Succession prequel?
Oh, it's like Logan was like a young up and comer.
Cast a young Logan coming up. Do it like it's like a period piece.
Yeah,
kind of
it
thing.
can be like it can be like Songbirds and Snakes, but for Logan.
But Logan, yeah, probably the same story.
No, yeah, I mean, I'd definitely watch it. I don't know if it'd be good, but
Oh, if Jesse's doing it, of
definitely.
course it'd be good. Of course it'd be good. Yeah, so it's kind of an unconventional answer, but the reason I thought about it is because finish Breaking Bad, you tell me there's a prequel with Saul, I feel like you'd think, oh, really? It's like, that's kind of weird. You know what I mean? I feel like there'd be natural skepticism about that, and Better Call Saul's like awesome. So I feel like Succession has the same potential to like a prequel could blow you away as well. So yes, that's my answer. Also, would love a Last of Us prequel as well. With
Yeah,
Joel.
that's what I was thinking. I was thinking how interesting would a Joel and Tommy story be?
Would love it.
Really?
Would love it.
I don't think the dynamic, like, if you're thinking of games, I don't think a dual protagonist of Joel and Tommy would be anywhere near as interesting as Joel and Ellie.
Oh, yeah. No, I do.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I just think they're too similar to really play off as the two, and I think having a story is only told through Joel's perspective of him relentlessly murdering people.
That's all it would be. That's like what we know about Joel in that time. I don't know, but Tommy goes to join the Fireflies and shit. Like, they're different.
True.
And good point about the game. Yeah, I don't know if I'd play a game of that. It's actually an interesting point. But like, you're telling me you wouldn't eat up bloody Pedro and what's his name? Diego. What's his name?
Luna? No, not that one. No.
That's Andor.
Yeah.
Gabriel Luna.
Yeah.
Gabriel Luna? Yeah. I wouldn't eat that up as a HBO show, So, and they age them up, so like they could still do that. So anyway, that was another idea. Also, anything in the Last of Us world, like, don't even have to be related to characters we know. Do something else in the world. That'd be great too. Fitzy.
Okay. So I think killer, like serial killer, not serial, like hitman would kind of, because they're already like establish the characters at the start of the film, and they have an implied history. So I think they make for good prequels, like John Wick. What if we watched a John Wick film where he was just like happy and chill and stuff, and you didn't have everyone going after him, or
Slice of life with John Wick.
yeah, or like Unforgiven, when Clint's character was actually like really really evil or whatever.
That's good.
And then what else? Oh yeah, like, do they explain, Jaden, like why in the Descent there's like creatures or whatever, in that cave?
I don't think they explain it. I think they're. I don't know.
Because
I think they're just like prehistoric, not prehistoric, but like just like inbred.
Oh yeah,
humans from the start.
See, what if? Oh, that's a spoiler.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of.
What I was gonna say. Oh, shit. How do I?
Zach, take your headphones off for a second.
You know that movie from last year? No, but he's gonna listen to the edit.
Ah, true.
Okay, you know that movie from last year, that horror film with the red poster?
The big one from last year?
One of the big, yeah, I think the big one.
Did I see it? Did you?
Yeah, I think you haven't, Nate.
The red poster. Oh, yes. Okay, yeah, I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah. What if the Descent was like that kind of situation? You know what I mean? Like, it was a previous experiment kind of thing, or like a previous like one fucked up guy doing this kind of thing.
That would be. No, I don't know. I don't think so.
No. Okay.
Nah, because I think because of the one from last year exists.
Right. Yeah. That probably wouldn't work. I just did. Yeah. When you think of things on the spot, sometimes. No? Yeah, you're right now.
You never really had to take them off because we spoke in code anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that was pointless, but anyway. All right.
Because Liam had the observation that you would edit it anyway, so.
Oh, I probably wouldn't listen to that whole bit.
Oh, yeah, true.
But
I don't think you can glean anything from it anyway. So, but no, not really. I was just like spitballing.
Just spitballing.
Yeah.
I like an Unforgiven prequel. That's good.
But it probably already exists in like one of the Western Clint's I haven't seen. Like, is a High Plains Drifter, or like something like that.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you. What you guys are saying about it being harder to find one than it seems, because even the ones that I looked at, they were like kind of interesting. I realized they already have like flashbacks or whatever, or like
Yeah.
implied knowledge of the past. So it's like, yeah, you think it's obvious, and if you were in Hollywood, you'd come up with all these ideas, but they've already like factored it into a lot of these products already, I guess.
Well, what's an example of an implied knowledge one? Because like you can still argue that for The Last of Us, but I still want to see it.
Mm. What's one I thought of? Let me.
Well, my one uses direct knowledge from the games to make your prequel.
Wait, which one?
Horizon. I mean, like you're
Oh, of
told
course,
what
yeah,
happens.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we still want to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, there are. But I do see that though. There are still some things where it's like I can't just go to everything I really like and want a prequel for it. Like there are some things where it's just like, doesn't need a prequel. Like you get it,
Like The Last of Us.
right?
When I was doing through my thought process, I was like, oh yeah, Bioshock would be interesting. I was like, oh wait, we have Bioshock Infinite.
Yeah.
and I ran into that problem a lot.
Yes. When you realised, yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking the same, like Godfather, Goodfellas, that kind of thing. Like even in the Goodfellas, they still have
Right.
like flashbacks, and they basically explain the whole past. So yeah.
Okay. All good. As always, we'd love you to submit your responses, thoughts, and/or reviews for next week's film in the YouTube or Instagram comment section, or join the Discord server this week. The specific question we'll be asking you is, what irregular, that to be clear, I sort of made it sound like I said regular. What irregular or exotic pet would you like to have? Let us know. Maybe songbirds or snakes. I don't know. That is it for this week's episode of Cinema Effect. Fitzy, what are we doing next week, and why the hell are we asking this weird ass question? This exotic question.
We're doing an Adam Sandler, a recent Adam Sandler film, called Leo, which is on Netflix. It's about a lizard who's a school class pet,
Yeah.
and he only has 1 year left to live. He plans to escape freedom, but he has to rescue his class from their horribly mean substitute teacher.
Huge spoilers.
That sounds very different to the Netflix synopsis I read, to be honest.
Yeah, we take it back and we don't do it anymore.
I think what I read was like it's a coming of age story through the eyes of the class pet is what Netflix said.
I mean, I guess they're both consistent with each other, sort of.
Yeah, just sells a different type of movie to me.
I feel like Fitzy's also selling an Adam Sandler movie. Like, to be clear, this is not a live action movie. Like, Adam Sandler did not mocap this lizard.
It didn't Andy Serkis it, yeah.
It didn't Andy Serkis it, exactly. It's an animated film. But yes, excellent. We will be doing that next week. Head to your Netflix and devour Leo for us, please. Let's end it with. Okay. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Appreciate Liam and Jane for joining me as always. Have a great rest of your week and goodbye.